we're keeping our staff employed with zero revenue. That assistance to the government, the $10,000 they've offered, that would go straight to paying suppliers and paying our staff. Even the Avalon, the Northern Beaches lockdown assistance was only $5,000, which would have paid a couple of weeks' rent. But we didn't qualify for that either. It's pretty dire stuff.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Last time we caught up with Jesse McTavish, he'd just opened his own restaurant, Bar Elvina, on Sydney's Northern Beaches. Sydney is currently in a lockdown, and although the government has announced support, it's not available for every operator. Jesse, how are you going?
Yeah, good, thanks, Huck. How are you?
Good. Times were a little bit different last time we spoke. You'd created your own venue, and it was a real hub of the community up in the Northern Beaches. What's it like at the moment with this lockdown?
It's interesting. Yeah, Andy Emerson and I created what we thought was a fantastic venue. We love it. It's going really well, and the response has been fantastic from the community. But we went through that first lockdown last year in Avalon in December. We were trading for 4 weeks prior to that. And the response straight after coming out of that was fantastic. The locals just backed us and supported us immensely. It was fantastic, and that's continued on. The feeling again up here is just a bit of uncertainty, I suppose, of what's going to happen and what's happening next.
What are you guys doing? How have you responded to this lockdown? Are you doing a takeaway, or is the restaurant closed? How have you responded?
This time we responded differently to last time. Last time we went straight into a e-commerce site and we created a little site off our webpage, selling cocktails, large format cocktails, takeaway food, home delivery seafood. It went really well because we were just a newly established business, and we thought that was a wise way to do it. We also didn't qualify for JobKeeper back then, which we knew opening the business. So we kept our staff employed. This time, our staff are happy to take a bit of a holiday. Some of them are just coming in and doing some maintenance with us in the venue. So we're not doing takeaway, unless we get an announcement this week that it's going to go longer. Then we've got a plan in place to turn into a takeaway venue.
The government has announced support for businesses that have been impacted by this lockdown. What's the situation with you at the moment with the restaurant only opening at the end of last year?
It's an interesting one. The criteria to qualify for that assistance it looks like they've taken the same format as they did with the Avalon and the Northern Beaches lockdown, which was, as you applied for that assistance, Andy Emerson, my business partner, actually did most of the work on that. He contacted Service New South Wales, then contacted local council as well. And the qualification was that ABN need to be active for 12 months. So as you're filling out the form, you got to the online form, you got to type in your ABN, type it in, it comes up, you don't qualify. There were businesses up here and on the Northern Beaches. There was a furniture maker over in Mona Vale I was chatting to one night. He came in for dinner, and he'd been active ABN for 11 months and didn't qualify for any support. And I was just like, oh, that's brutal. And I understand, they're probably trying to limit the amount of businesses that are opening up, starting ABN, getting ABN and claiming the assistance straight away. But I mean, if you're submitting a regular, your quarterly BAS, showing your income, reporting your income honestly, paying your taxes, then there's no reason why you shouldn't qualify, I suppose. And the same framework as looks like it's been done this time for the assistance. However, the qualification isn't 12 months, it's now 2 years. June, July 2019 figures need to be produced by your accountant, which is just mind-blowing. I think it's just an oversight. I think it's maybe a rushed decision to get something in by the Treasury, announce something. It definitely needs a bit of to be re-looked at, I think.
There'll be a lot of restaurants that have opened in that period that won't be able to get support. How long can you sustain this? What sort of impact is it having on you?
It's pretty heavy. without getting into the exact figures, another couple of weeks would probably see the end. You're back to zero. We're keeping our staff employed with zero revenue. That assistance to the government, the $10,000 they've offered, that would go straight to paying suppliers and paying our staff. Even the Avalon, the Northern Beaches lockdown assistance was only $5,000, which would have paid a couple of weeks' rent. But we didn't qualify for that either. It's pretty dire stuff. Like, this is the cash flow in a restaurant. The margins are tiny. The cash flow is not great. Especially after only trading for 6 months through a winter, for our first winter. And we're lucky, one of the lucky ones. We're a busy restaurant. We're actually busy, and we've got a decent, consistent cash flow. But it just doesn't last very long when you shut the doors. When nothing comes in, things still go out. And I think that the real kicker is the staff are so hard to find at the moment. Good staff, good quality hospo, proper, true hospo staff are really difficult to find. And we're so lucky with the crew we've got. And we're going to do whatever we can, whatever it takes to keep those staff. Have to. Our casual staff, our full-timers, we need to keep them on. We've got them coming in tomorrow for a maintenance day and paying our casual staff just for a maintenance day so they can pay rent. It's that serious. I think we all sort of think, oh no, it's all right. We are and we are in a very lucky country, and the government's done a great job in many ways. But there are realities of it that's eventually we're going to run out of money. Our staff are going to run out of money, and they've got to pay rent, they've got to pay petrol, they've got to pay car payments, etc., etc. It's the reality of it.
You mentioned that you think it may be an oversight, and the government also trying to protect themselves from someone starting a business and then claiming straight away, but the circumstances that you have are quite different to that. What would you like to see happen?
I'd like to see the qualification for the assistance come back to based on your current revenue, last three months or your last quarter's revenue. I think that is enough to show that you've got a business that's got trading history, that you're paying wages, that you're keeping staff employed, you're contributing to the economy, paying tax. That's enough. A quarter BAS statement is enough to show that you've been actively contributing to the economy, and then that should be the qualification, I believe. If your revenue that is then being hit by 90% or 100% as ours has, then I think that's the qualification. Honestly, I think that's if it was explained to the Treasury in that way, they would see it in that light and go, oh, absolutely, that's what we wanted an assistance program for, to do that. It was exactly us. We're the perfect candidate. However, so I think it is a bit of an oversight, but and hopefully they perhaps renew it and look at it in that light.
This episode is proudly supported by Montague, handpicked for you.
The things that we're really looking for in plums, first of all, they've got to be sweet. We're really looking for a full flavour explosion in our plums. Red flesh is critically important to us, higher in antioxidants, so all that good stuff. And then we're also looking to add a slightly firmer texture, so there's almost a little crunch. You know, that's the real driver for us. For more information, go to montague.com.au.
You mentioned that staff are hard to get hold of, but you're really happy with the staff that you have and you're trying to hold on to them. And the restaurant's become a real hub of the community. What do you think is behind its success?
That's a good question. Yeah, we've definitely, our staff are a huge part of that success. We've got a great venue manager. Nick Musgrove is unbelievable. Everyone knows his name. Everyone walks through the door. You know, when I was a young guy, I was working in a couple of cafes and I was about 20 years old. And I used to just love the places I was working in and really put my biggest effort into making it like it's my own place. And I used to get asked, is this your place? And that's one of the most beautiful things when people walk in and see Nick and someone, they go, so Nick, is this your place? Because of the care and attention to detail and the true, genuine love he shows for our business. And that culture that he and Andy and myself have really tried to push to keep that as a fun place to work, as a really enjoyable place where we just love what we do. We love when customers come through the door, and it's genuine. We have fun while we're at work, and we really enjoy what we do. And so I think that's a very, very Beaches thing as well. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We just have a lot of fun while we're doing it. Nothing's ever a problem. It's just it's a good place to work. And I think that's the I think the community has seen that and have embraced it. And they will support us really heavily when we reopen again, which is wonderful. And I can't thank the community enough for doing that last time. And we know they're all asking, they can't wait to get back in again. They're telling us can't wait to get back in when we reopen, which is really cool. We've also just taken a lease over on a space downstairs and be opening a new little concept down there as well, which is kind of cool. Which is all, it's all sort of just in its very early stages, but we've definitely signed, but we really want to go in. We just signed just before this lockdown, so we'd love to know that the government's got our back this time when we go into this one. It's like, what?
How different will that be compared to what you're doing upstairs? Quite
different, daytime offering. And different branding, complete same. So we're using the same designer for our branding, Paul McNeil, which is one of the famous old Mambo artists and close mate of mine. And we're running something of quite a different concept. It's lots of fun. Again, very beaches. A bit of a surf culture feel about it as well. Yeah, it's good fun.
Over the last year and a half, people all over the planet have experienced change and adapting to change. You've become a father since we last spoke. What sort of impact has that had on you?
Yeah. How's that? Who would have thought? It all works. Apparently, it all still works, which is good. That's what my mum said. Mate, it's been amazing. It's been fantastic. Ali, my fiance, is just an amazing woman, amazing person, and naturally being an amazing mum so far too. But it's just great. I think it's just like when you meet the right person, it just seems very natural to want to have a little family and want to create a little family. So it's been amazing. We're moving to the beaches in the next few weeks as well, into Narrabeen, and the lifestyle I had in Byron and Lennox growing up, I just always wanted that for our kids. And we're just moving into a place right on the lagoon, 50 metres to the ocean, and all those amazing lifestyle bonuses of living on the east coast of Australia. we're going to try and replicate that, the childhood that I had growing up in Lennox Head. So it's really cool.
Now that you're a dad, has that changed the way that you work and operate and think of the business as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And thankfully, Andy has set a really good example for me, having two kids of his own, and his second child is only 6 months, a little bit older. About 6 months or 9 months older than our little boy Will. And so it's great. So he's already gone through it, and it's kind of funny at the start. We're building this place, and I'm like, man, he's busy with these kids all the time. What's he doing? And then I just start to realise all the pressure that he had. The poor guy. He did such a good job. But it's been really it's life changing, of course. But thankfully I've got a really sympathetic business partner who's gone through it himself. And so we get out of here at the right time. At night time, we're not here to the death. We get to go home and see our kids, and we've got great staff as well. Again, great managers and great chefs that understand that. And it was great to be able to spend a couple of weeks after the birth of Will, and we just got to hang out with Ali and him, and know that this is the first time in my life that I've had staff that you just go, wow, I know that I can leave the place and it's going to be taken care of beautifully, and that's credit to Andy, of course. And the rest of our staff. So it's been fantastic. It's been a really fantastic time. But then you start sort of missing getting in the kitchen too. You want to jump back in there. You're at home and you start writing menus and writing dishes, and you get a bit antsy. So we're at that point now.
Well, as you mentioned a bit earlier, things are a little tough and there's no assistance for you, and there'd be many restaurants out there that would be in a similar situation. What can those that are in that situation, and what can they do at the moment?
That's a good question. I'm just exploring it right now, and I want to chat to other restaurants that are in the same boat. There's got to be hundreds, I reckon, in Greater Sydney and New South Wales in general that have opened the last 2 years and haven't got 2 years of trading. The Northern Beaches lockdown assistance. We're too late for that now. That's fine. We had deaf ears. We were 2 hours on the phone one day, waiting for answers, and Andy was requesting giving our an explanation of our situation and seeing if there was an exemption for that. But that just fell on deaf ears. So we just said, you know what, that's fine. Let's just get on with business. I think anyone who's in that similar boat should speak up, and I think we need to talk to the Treasury. And there is a way to contact the Treasurer, and I'm going to give that a go. And I'm not trying to be upset about it or on a rampage at all. It's just purely just for awareness, and just want to make sure that this assistance is targeted to the right place. It has to hit the right mark. People that are truly in need of assistance. Simple as that. Yeah.
Well, hopefully your voice is heard, mate, and many others that are in your situation, and also hope the lockdown doesn't happen for much longer. As always, we love catching up with you, Jesse, on Deep in the Weeds.
Thanks, Huck.
Please keep in touch. Good luck, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate this, mate. Cheers.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast, or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.